Hey guys, Kevin Cage back with another cryptocurrency update. Welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe if you're serious about the digital asset space, and let's get right into it today. One take and uncut. So really briefly, guys, I'm going to have the links for these down below. I know Digital Asset Investor, I know Love for Crypto originally found this document. I believe this was all published September 2017. This is probably by far one of the most relevant infographics for the XRP community that's ever been made. Again, we got Everest, an NTT data company in the top 5 IT firms in the world. This is absolutely massive. I know I've probably done maybe 2 videos on this topic, but again, you can always do big deep dives on this type of info. But essentially, just to go through it briefly, so we're talking about the adoption of distributed ledger tech in the financial sector specifically, and then of course payment settlement in present and future, where we are today and where we are going. So again, just talking about the adoption of DLT, the Internet of Information is where we were from the 1950s to 2004. You guys feel free to click the document or take screenshots of this, just talking about the different protocols at that time. All right, throughout the entire layers, whether the application layer, the network layer, etc. And as we move down to the Internet of Value, the IOV, so rather than just information, data, messaging, pictures, video, we are sending value. So 2009 to 2030, and as we can see, Bitcoin in 09, R3 of course. 2014, we can see SBI Ripple Asia, we can see Interledger IOP back in 2015, and then of course Ripple becoming the standard for international money transfers between banks, and this literally says right here 2020. So IOP becomes the standard protocol for connecting banks, and their cash ledger specifically is part of Ripple's software. Now, these guys are not just some small group. This is a very, professional type of PowerPoint style, and I just wanted to show this presentation briefly. If you guys want to do your own research and look more into it, highly recommend doing so. And as we can see here, just talking about IOP Java, talking about interoperability standard for even Hyperledger as well. Solutions for capital markets, trade finance emerge with R3 specifically. This is where the big money lies. So 2020, guys, I wholeheartedly believe to see some type of significant price move, if not multiple. And for all of those people that are extremely bullish, of course, 2025 for the ISO 20022 migration with the messaging standards. And then, of course, all the way up to 2030. Whether, XRP moons to your price of, $1, $10, $5.89, whatever you guys want it to see fit, I highly recommend holding, a small stash of XRP, maybe 1,000 XRP for life, just in case, because you never know how high this could really go when it sees true adoption. And we're just getting started in the crypto space. And keep that in mind with all your other altcoins too. The most legitimate projects will survive, the others will most likely die. But for those that actually hold on longer than the others, are not willing to, you could really see some great returns. All right. So just talking about blockchain and DLT, as we can see here, blockchain tech, and then migrating towards enterprise level platforms for specific use cases to really mature. So cross-border payments, Ripple's focusing on this. And then after cross-border payments, of course, we're going to focus on, international payments regarding capital markets and trade finances, I've already said. You can see here the IOP, we can see the Interledger stack, of course, and this consists of the application, transport, and core layer. And then in terms of the network layer, it'll be value instead of information moving over the network. Right here, talking about Hyperledger, we can see some recognizable groups as well. We know SAP, we know BNY Mellon, CME Group, BBVA, Wells Fargo. A lot of people that have at least either, current RippleNet partners have done proof of concepts. I mean, look at CLS. Digital Asset Investor did a phenomenal video on CLS recently. Definitely check it out. And then, of course, Accenture. Excuse me. They are helping with the digital transformations of not only R3, but Swift and Ripple. All right, Cisco, and then DTCC and R3, and of course, Digital Asset, that group as well. I mean, guys, these are some of the biggest names in the industry as well. We can see Deutsche as well. All right, and then payments and settlement, present and future. So we got 1980 to 2017. We see the overall real-time gross settlement systems, the RTGS systems. We see the local payment rails. For example, we have ACH right here. And then we got Fedwire is the real-time gross settlement system itself. And then CLS, moving the money. Ideally, we want to replace this whole thing. And then the correspondent banks, the correspondent banking networks throughout everything, the correspondent banks that all have to settle on the central bank's core ledger. All right, but where do we want to go to from here, from this archaic infrastructure, right? And again, CLS, DAI did a great video on this, continuous link settlement. As we can see here, look at this old, slow, expensive infrastructure used by correspondent banks. Swift does not have the money. They use a correspondent banking partner to handle all of this. Now, where do they want to go? Starting from 2017, we can see moving forward, we have the local payment rails, the RTGS systems, and now instead of CLS, we see interledger protocol connecting them. All right. Now we can see the correspondent banks, or I believe potentially the central banks, all right, or correspondent banking network, and literally just the interledger protocol, or liquidity providers, excuse me. I've covered this before in a better video, but I just wanted to run through it briefly. Xcurrent uses interledger protocol, ILP, for making transactions. I mean, you guys can, get a good synopsis of it by just reading. Now, 2020, the year of the digital asset, cross-border real-time gross settlement. Instead of just ILP connecting, we actually have ILP going right over now, connecting to the XRP ledger. Distributed ledger tech, in particular the XRP ledger, will enable banks to settle cross-currency transactions in real time, something impossible today. The ledger can be accessible by all banks and liquidity providers, enabling healthy competition between banks and a better service for customers. Talking about, just everything overall, guys. The information is right here in front of you. I don't see other digital assets doing this with a strong use case. I highly, highly recommend just, looking over this document. This is probably, when you have doubt, look back at this and simply understand it's a waiting game. Get through all this goofy FUD, this fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and these, news campaigns to make everybody sell. I'm simply not falling for it. If you don't believe in the investment, that's fine, but just hold a portion for life, because I am telling you, I literally have no doubt, but it's simply a waiting game. And yeah, I get impatient, but I need a drink of water 1 second. I'm on day 3 of my fast right now, so. Woo, all right. Let's keep going. But essentially, guys, just think ILP connecting these real-time gross settlement systems to the XRP ledger. Everything's running over this globally to connect to all of the, central banks, correspondent banking network, and liquidity providers for real-time cross-border transactions, settlements. All right, and then talking about interoperability, and then connecting way beyond this, blockchain and DLTs, capital markets, trade finance, Internet of Things, payment platforms, marketplaces, other platforms. And people are saying, okay, well, where do the banks play into this? And I think that, Digital Asset Investor was right. It's, they're all connected. It's all underlying everything, right? They are all settling real time. All right, and you can see these money networks as well. Bank of Japan, Target 2 payments. I know you guys know about Target and, tips as well. All right, and that is it. Now, I want to go over this next article. So Jared Wright actually DM'd me this before sharing this morning, The Future of Cross-Currency Payments by Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Now, I found this really interesting. I'm just going to go through this briefly. And the question is, I don't know how old this article is. We see the sources, but we don't know when this actual was actually published. So right here. The future of cross-currency payments. Banks help corporates respond to rising volume, risk, and innovation. So typically this is about, managing FX for volatility risk, real-time payments, using blockchain. They have a lot of the keywords we're looking for. So right here, and as we know, we're expecting Bank of America to come out and announce that they are a RippleNet partner and hopefully either using or plan to use on-demand liquidity, XRP, very, very soon. And I want to see a plan of attack for scaling, and I want to know what corridors they will be going after. So as you can see PayPal estimates, cross-border $300 billion a year. As we go down, payments risk viewed as a growing concern. Just talking about FX volatility is a risk. A lot of groups, have this issue today. All right. And again, the inattention to FX volatility risk is increasingly being viewed as a problem, particularly as more and more CFOs and treasurers are required to explain to the shareholders the impact that such volatility is having on the earnings. All right, we all know a solution that can help mitigate this. Obviously, with a RippleNet, real-time bidirectional messaging, you guys can understand the quotes and the rates that you can lock in for, a short period of time, whether it's a minute or a few seconds, and you'll be able to transfer this real time. All right, so talking about the payment innovations, I've already read that. And then talking about banking solutions, I thought this was really cool. Where was it? Right here. So the idea is to change the paradigm from corporates asking their bank to make a payment by wire, ACH, or check, to asking the bank to make a payment to a certain party by using whatever payment channel the consumer wants or is best suited for their needs, regardless of where they're located. Such delivery channels could include a push to card technology delivery via digital wallets. Listen, guys, digital wallets, digital IDs, whether it's a phone number, social security number, some type of identification for a single wallet for your personal value, it's on the way. That's just my belief. We might be, far away from that, but I think we're a lot closer to seeing our cryptocurrency investments appreciate as well. Now, this is basically, what's most important, the new payment rails leveraging blockchain and other new technologies to drive money more instantly, yet securely. The payment industry is looking beyond traditional payment clearing rails for wires. And of course, I wanted to show this article after prefacing with the previous presentation just to show you, the original archaic payment rails. All right. Cards and checks. Now, banks are involved in the discussion about what new rails might look like and seeking practical applications to streamline workflows and accounting needs associated with cross-border payments using blockchain tech. And keep in mind, this is simply just ledger technology, guys. So it's not all about just sending money. It's about streamlining the workflows, increasing operational efficiency to increase the savings, and then, of course, release that dormant capital that's tied up as well around the world. Now, this is, a multi-trillion-dollar problem. We're well aware of that. We understand the price, especially if, XRP escrow remains locked, and you really... Typically, you could estimate 5 to 10 billion is only circulating. Even if it's 100 billion, it's still not enough if you guys really understand the numbers, especially when you get into capital markets and trade finance. So huge things ahead, guys. I just wanted to share this with you. Jared, I appreciate you sending this over and kind of just showing me that as well with the digital wallet. Found this to be really interesting. The only thing is we don't know because the sources are from 2015 and 2016. So you have to realize this has been in the plans for a long time. And this right here, this Everest document, this is from September 2017. So these links will be in the description as always, guys. Remember, always research your research, question everything. But at the same time, come on, look at the news outlets, look at these random, Bitcoin websites that you're looking up and getting their opinion on XRP. Don't be fooled. Just know what you're investing in. This is honestly going to be beyond digital gold, in my opinion. All right, guys, I appreciate you all as always. Be sure to check the links in the description. Thank you for all that have joined the membership. I really, really appreciate it. And until the next video, thanks.